والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. I'm not going to tell you, Salam alaikum, and then you say alaikum salam. I know I didn't hear you, salam. But at least when somebody says salam, you should reply alaikum salam. كيف حالكم? How are you guys doing? Inshallah, today I'll be talking about a very, very important topic. And this topic, I think it's relevant for all of us. Youngsters, elders. It's a topic that's, in fact, derived from one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have a question. The first question is, does Allah have names?
Yes.
How many names does He have? Does Allah have only 99 names?
No.
How many does He have? More than 99, right? Yeah. But there's hadith that says that Allah Azza wa Jal has 99 names, as 100 less one. Whoever enumerates these names, believe in them, study them, memorizes them, he shall enter Jannah. What's your favorite name of Allah Azza wa Jal? Yes, really? Allah? Allah is your favorite name? Is it Jameel? Really, it's beautiful. What's your favorite name? Ar-Rahman. Ya salam. Anta?
Ar-Rahim.
Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. وأنت? الرحمن كذا الرحمن ها الخالق يا سلام the creator أنت الملك ها المؤمن. Do you know what that means? No. Al-Mu'min is not the provider. Al-Mu'min has a couple meanings. Al-Mu'min is the one who provides security, aman. The one who provides safety, al-aman. What's your favorite name of Allah Azza wa Jalla? Yours? Yes. Ar-Rahman, just like that brother Ar-Rahman, yes? All of them. MashaAllah. You know what? I'll give you candy for that one. Just all of them. All of them. Today I'm going to choose a name. But before I choose a name, I'm going to tell you a story, and then you tell me what name of Allah can you derive from the story. All right. There is a man by the name of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
He has a son. What's the name of his son? For the candy. Who said that? Who said that first? Who said that first? Here. Abdullah. His name is Abdullah. Abdullah ibn Umar. One day he was walking in the outskirts, Medina, outside, like in the fields. And then he found a shepherd. And then he wanted to test the shepherd. So he sat down with the shepherd, and then he told him, and the shepherd was fasting. And then he said, "Can you give me one of your sheeps?" The guy said, "They don't belong to me." He says, "I'll buy it from you." He says, "But they don't belong to me. I'm just a shepherd." He says, "Why don't you give me one?" He says, "I just told you they don't belong to me. They belong to the owner. I'm just a shepherd." And then he told him, "Why don't you tell the owner that you lost it? And then he give it to me." Then he said, the shepherd says, "If the owner is not here, how about Allah, the Lord of the owner, the creator of the universe, Allah? If the owner is not here watching me, how about Allah who's watching me? Yes, I can lie to the owner. I can fool the owner. But can I fool Allah?" Yes, sometimes you guys are, your parents, you pray. You guys pray. Do you pray because you feel Allah, or you pray because you feel your parents? Do you read the Quran because you feel Allah, or you read the Quran because you feel your parents? You're here. Is it because your parents have pushed you to be here, or because you love coming here? Why you guys are here? So this is the essence of the story. He told him, yes, I can fool him, I can lie to him, but how about Allah? What name of Allah can we derive from here? Al-Alim, nice. What name of Allah can we derive from this? Huh? Al-Basir, Samir, Jameel. Al-Alim, Al-Basir, yes? Yalla, there's so many names. Al-Samir, the all hearing, the all seeing, yes. Al-Musawwir, Jameel. Al-Amir, Al-Amin, Al-Amin. There's no That's not, yes. Huh? That's the name I was looking for. They're all great, but Ar-Raqib. Ar-Raqib. That's his. Hey, Ar-Raqib is watching. I'm just talking about it. Ar-Raqib. Ar-Raqib is the all watchful. The one who watches all over us. But Arabi, you guys speak Arabi, you say مراقبة. يراقب يعني باللغة العربية الفصحى. يراقبك. تراقبك. المراقبة. The all watchful, all watchfulness. To watch something so closely, so meticulously. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Raqib. Wallahu raqibun alaykum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching all over us. He's hearing us. He's watching us. Wherever we are. You know when they say you can run but you cannot hide? Or you can, yes, you can run but you cannot hide. You can run but you cannot hide from Allah Azza wa Jalla because He's everywhere. Wherever you are, yes, you may look at me here. You may, smile at me, but Allah Azza wa Jalla knows what's inside your chest. Allah knows what you're thinking of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what you're plotting. When you tell your parents sometimes you say, yes, I'm going to bed. And then your parents go out to sleep and then you pick up your phone and then you're watching things that you're not supposed to be watching. What? Is that you? You've been, looking for things that you're not supposed to be looking at. And then you think that your parents are not there. Yes, it's true. Your parents are not looking at you. They went to sleep. But who's watching you? We tend to forget this. Allah is always there. And the thing is, we all believe in Allah, of course. We all believe in Allah Azza wa Jalla. We say, yes, we believe in Allah. But we tend to forget the fact that Allah is watching all over us. If you're driving a car, right? And then, you're like 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. And there's nobody. There's nobody in the street. And there is a red light. You break the red light. A lot of people would break the red light because, there's nobody. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. But if the Prime Minister of Canada is sitting right there watching, would you break would you run the light? Yes. Yes?
Because it's not going to happen.
You run the red light, the Prime Minister of Canada is there. If the police car is there, would you run the light? Maybe you're not afraid of Prime Minister. If the policeman is there, sitting right there, would you run the light? You would not be running the light. But because there's nobody there, you would run the light. All I'm trying to say here, if you think that nobody is there watching you, Allah is. And this is why I want to talk today about this beautiful name, the name of Allah Ar-Raqib. Are you guys with me? The name of Allah Ar-Raqib, the all-watchful. You could be talking on the phone, and then all of a sudden your mom comes in or your father comes in, and then you say, okay, Ahmed, I gotta go. You're not talking to Ahmed. Not even Khalid. Maybe Khalida. But not Ahmed. And then you say, طيب, okay, Ahmed, I gotta go. Subhanallah. Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, أتستخفون من الله ولا تستخفون من الناس؟ لا يستخفون من الناس ولا يستخفون من الله. يستحيون من يعني you try to hide from people but you don't hide from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Can't you know that Allah is watching? And this is something that all of us know. Need to know. Not only us youngsters, mashallah, tabarakallah, but also our parents, they need to understand this. Wallahi, I think and I believe if all the Muslims were to apply this name, we will not need no officers, no cops, no police, nobody. Because we know that Allah Azza wa Jalla is watching us. Before we do anything, that we know that Allah, before I make a step, I would know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. I'm going to share some stories with you. The first story is a story, you may have heard it, the story of a girl. We call her the milk seller. You may have heard of this beautiful story of this girl. She's a girl. She's a milk seller at the era or at the time of Umar ibn Khattab. This girl, she at the time of Umar, she used to sell milk. And then Umar ibn Khattab, he made an announcement that you guys should not be mixing water with milk because some people used to cheat. They would pour some more water, right, to the milk so they can have more milk to sell, right? So at night, the mom goes and tells her daughter, Ya ibnati, oh my daughter, go and pour some more water into the milk so that we can have more milk to sell. And the girl, she says, Ya ummah, oh mother, Amir Mu'mineen, Umar, he made an announcement that we should not be mixing water with milk. And then the mom says, Ya binti, Ya binti, Umar is not here to watch us, to see you, but you can go and do it. And then the girl says, Ya Ummah, oh mother, if Umar is not here watching me, how about Allah? So she's giving a lesson to her mom. If Umar is not watching me, if my dad is not watching me, if nobody's here watching me, how about Allah? Isn't Allah watching me? And guess what? Who was there outside, walking by, late at night? Umar himself. Umar, he didn't, he used to sleep very less. So at night he would go around in Medina, making sure that people are all fine. And then he got tired. So he went and then he leaned against the wall. And that wall happens to be the house of that mother and her daughter. So he heard the conversation. He heard the conversation. And then he went, and then he told his son, Asim, his son was, he says, I heard this conversation between this mom and her daughter. Would you be interested in marrying this girl? This girl who feels Allah, she has something called Allah's consciousness, the feel of Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah's righteousness. Would you, be interested in marrying her? I want you to marry her, she's an amazing girl. He does not know nothing about her, but the only thing he knows is that what he heard from that conversation. And then he says, of course, Dad, if you want me to marry her, if she agrees, I'll marry her. So the next morning they went and they knocked at the door, Umar ibn Khattab with his son. The day they got so scared, he says, no, I want to talk to your daughter. The daughter, would you like to marry my son? Would you want to marry her? Yeah, you. When you grow up, yeah. You don't know.
I would.
She's Egyptian. Okay. You want to marry her? You're not Egyptian. Are you Pakistani? Are you Arabi? Where are you from? Palestinian. She's Palestinian. Would you marry her now?
Ahsan.
Would you marry her? He brought his son and he says, would you like to marry my daughter? Or would you like to marry my son? And then she agrees. Amir Mu'minin, of course, she marries him. She agrees to marry him. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them. Listen, Allah blessed them with a fruit. The fruit of al-raqabah, or the fruit of muraqabat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a fruit, and the fruit is Allah blessed them with a son. Later on, that son is actually from the progeny of Umar ibn Khattab. The progeny of Umar ibn Khattab. He used to be one of the the coolest, I would say, one of the greatest rulers of all time. In fact, one of the most the justest rulers of all time. His name is Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. You have to remember this name. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he was so just in his time that, because he did not need no shepherds at the time of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. You will have, sheep going with the wolves, and the wolves would not attack a sheep. Why? Because there was so much justice in his time that there was no need of a shepherd, subhanAllah, in his time. The day when a wolf attacked a sheep, the shepherd was there, and he says, something happened to Amir Mu'mineen. And then he went back to the city, and then they found out that Amir Mu'mineen, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, has died. That's how they found out he died, because when a sheep or when a wolf attacked the sheep. All I'm trying to say here, that man used to be so just in his time, that subhanAllah, he came from the progeny of Umar ibn Khattab. This man, this boy who married this girl, Allah Azza wa Jalla gave them the fruit. The essence of the story is, if Umar ibn Khattab is not watching, Allah is. If Umar ibn Khattab is not listening, Allah is. Allah is As-Sami'. Allah is Al-Basir. Allah is Al-Alim. Allah is Al-Alim. Allah is Al-Shaheed. Allah is Al-Muhaymin. Allah is Al-Raqib. All these are beautiful names of Allah Azza wa Jal that depict one very, very main concept, the concept of the raqaba of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The concept of Allah's watchfulness. Sometimes you may trick someone, like you're selling your PS4 or you're selling your phone that you no longer need, and you know that there is something wrong with that phone, or you know that there's something wrong with that, with that PS4. So the guy says, "Is there anything wrong?" You say, "No, it's crystal." What do you guys say? You're selling something that's really great. What's the term? Huh?
Mint condition. Dope.
Mint, dope. Yeah. I want those names. Dope. Dope. It's dope. Yeah, and it's beautiful, huh? Dope. I'm learning. Is it dope? Is it like dope that you smoke? Is that dope?
That's dope.
Not that dope, huh? He said it's dope, but it turned out to be not dope. It's dope. You say it's dope, but you know, you try to fool him because you want to sell the dope, you want to sell that thing, right? You want to sell it, and you know there is something wrong with it. You may have fooled him, but can you fool Allah? Can you trick Allah? This is what we're trying to bring here. This is what we're trying to understand. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. Allah, He knows the treasures of the eyes. Sometimes you do something and then you wink at your friend. You know, say, hey, you know, you wink at him like, I tricked the guy. Like you wink at him, you say, I tricked her, I tricked him. You know, yes, you may have tricked him, but how can you trick Allah? You cannot trick Allah because Allah is the all-watchful subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, it happened a long time ago in one of the towns in the UK. It's a village. Happens to be a Quran school in the weekend. The teacher brought some chicken to his students, you know, little kids, and he told them, go and slaughter this chicken in a place where nobody can see you. So each took a chicken, they tried to go and kill the chicken in a place where they were trying to hide. They all brought their chicken, that except one little kid, he brought his chicken alive. Why? He says, the teacher asked him, how come I told you go in a place where nobody can see? He says, I tried, I went everywhere, but I know that Allah was watching me. I tried to hide. Yes, I couldn't, no people who couldn't see me, but Allah is watching me. If people cannot watch you, Allah can, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially when you're alone, you think at night, you know, so remember this. When everybody's asleep, Allah is watching you. When you're at school, you think the teacher is not watching, Allah can. When the teacher steps out and then you want to cheat or whatever, I don't know how you guys do it at school, but Allah is watching, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only at home, not only at school, even anywhere you are, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anywhere you are. يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ يَعْلَمُ مَا تُخْفُونَ وَمَا تُعْلِنُونَ subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows what you hide, He knows what you reveal, He knows what you're thinking right now, subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know. Nobody knows. Your parent may not know. But Allah knows, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is really very important concept that we need to understand as youth, as youngsters, as parents, as Muslims in general. We need to, you know, here's the thing. If the FBI or CSIS or, you know, these intelligence agencies, if they were to, let's say, put some sort of sensor, you know, if they were to put some sort of sensor to watch every movement that you do, everything that you say will be recorded. You'll be watching what you say because they've been watching. You're watched by the FBI, you're watched by the police. Why? Because they put something inside of you like a sensor. So anywhere you go, they're watching you, they're monitoring you. Right? So before you say something, you watch out. Before you step, you know, or do anything, you will watch out. Why? Because you know that you've been watched by the police. Allah, no, you know, there's a couple methods of watching here. The first method is Naam, Allah Azza wa Jalla is watching all over us. But there's some others who are also watching us and recording what we do and say. Who are they? Allahu Akbar, mashallah alayki, inti. Who? The angels. The angels who are recording everything we do and say. Do you know that we have angels, you know, on our right shoulder, left shoulder, they, you know, they write everything we say? You know when you do a good deed? When you do a good deed, you know, the angel from the right, you know, from the right side, right away he goes and he writes it down. When you do a good deed, or when you intend to do a good deed and you don't do it, the angel on the right side, he goes and he writes it down. He writes it down as one? No, he writes it down as how many? As 10. As 10 hasanat. If you do one hasanat, it will be recorded as 10. Because this angel here, he only writes down, you know, the good things that you do. So if you think of doing something good and you don't do it, you still get hasanat in Islam. If you think to do a bad deed, listen to this. If you think to do a bad deed, and then you say, astaghfirullah, I'm not going to do it. The angel who is on the right side will write it down as a good deed. You intend to do something bad, and then you say, astaghfirullah, no, I'm not going to do it. It's hasanah for you. He writes it down as a... And then when you do a bad deed, look, when you do a bad deed, the angel on the left, he's going to write it, but he does not write it on the spot. When you do a good deed, the angel on the right, right away he writes it down as a good deed. When you intend to do something good and you don't do it, still right away he writes it down as a good deed. When you make a sin, when you do a sin, the angel on the left, he does not write it. Why? Because he gives you some chance to repent, to say astaghfirullah. If you say astaghfirullah, this guy right away writes it down, a good hasanah. But if you don't say astaghfirullah, he gives you some time to, istighfar, to repent, to seek forgiveness from Allah. And then if you don't do it, then he will write it down as only one sayyah, one bad deed. This guy, 10. The left guy, only one bad deed. I'd like you all to stand up, inshallah ta'ala, and give high fives to each other and hugs. Sisters and brothers, high fives and hugs. Stand up. High fives and hugs. Stand up. Hug each other and high fives. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Yes. Jazakumullah khair. So here's a guy. Here's a guy in this in the desert. They were camping in tents. And then late at night, one guy comes out. And then he goes to the girl who's in the other tent late at night. And he tells her, come, come, come. Everybody's asleep. Come, nobody is here. So he's trying to be romantic. He says, nobody is watching us except al-kawakib, except the stars. You know the Arabs? You guys Arabs? The Arabs here? When you say, you want to tell your mom, she looks so beautiful, what do you tell her? Ya qamar. What do you say? Ya qamar. How do they say that? Al-qamar, the moon, remember this to tell your wife, inshallah, when you get married. Ya qamar, qamar, say it. Exactly, tell her that, inshallah. When you get married, call your wife qamar. So the Arab said, he's trying to be romantic. He's trying to tell her, nobody is here except the moon. He's trying to be romantic. Except al-kawakib. You know what she said? وَأَيْنَ مُكَوْكِبُهَا. She says, yes, it's only the moon. But how about the one who has created the moon? Isn't he watching us? He's trying to call her out to do something haram. But then he's trying to tell her that nobody's watching, everybody's asleep, why don't you come out? But then what did she say? She said, yes, nobody is here except the moon. But how about the one who created the moon? How about the one who created the stars? Isn't he watching us, subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَأَيْنَ مُكَوْكِبُهَا. You always remember that Allah Azza wa Jalla again is watching all over us, especially when you're alone. Because have you heard the story of Jibreel? This is very important. Okay, imagine, here's Prophet Muhammad sitting with the Sahaba. Right? Prophet Muhammad sitting with the Sahaba. And then a man came. The hadith is very sound, it's reported by Bukhari. A man came who did not appear to be a traveler. They never saw him. He came and he sat down next to the Prophet Muhammad. He sat down like this. Let me show you exactly how he sat down. Because the Prophet, hadith is very important. There's so many lessons that we can derive. Come and sit on your knees. Put down on the, exactly. Sit down. لا خليك on the knees. And then, exactly. The Prophet sat down just like this. He put his knees against the knees of this man. No, this man. He came to sit next to the Prophet. The Prophet was teaching. So the man came and he put his knees against the knees of the Prophet and the hands on the thighs of the Prophet. And then he was looking at him eye to eye. Eye to eye. And then he was asking him questions. The first question he says, Ya Muhammad. And he's trying to teach the Sahaba some lessons. So he asked Prophet Muhammad, he says, Ya Muhammad, what's Islam? What's Islam, you guys? Oh, so you guys only talk when I give it, candy. Candy. What's Islam? What's Islam? What are the 5 pillars of Islam? Come on. The 5 pillars of Islam. I put my candies back now. What are the 5 pillars of Islam? Salah. What's the first pillar of Islam? Shahada, and then? As-salah, and then? As-zakah, and then? Ramadan, and? Hajj al-Bayt. But how about Siyam? Did you say Siyam? How many pillars do we have in Islam? 5. طيب. Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Listen. Then he told him, you spoke the truth. And then he asked him ايش هو؟ Candy. لا بعدين when you answer this, the other question هذه easy هذه easy أنا أقول لي take another one. He says what's iman? You see there are three things. Muslim, mu'min. Muslim and then higher level is mu'min. So he asked him the second question, he says what's iman? Okay you guys, how many pillars do we have in iman? 6. What are the pillars of iman? And to believe in? To believe in the book? No, before the books. You believe in Allah, the prophets, the angels, the books, the day of judgment, والقدر خيره وشره, and the decree. You believe in the decree, al-qadar. The decree of Allah, it's good and it's bad. So there are 6 pillars of iman. Are you guys listening? The first question was about Islam, the second question was about iman. Now the third question. Then he told him, what's ihsan? This is very important. What's ihsan? Because you see, there's 3 levels. The first level is Muslim. But what's higher than a Muslim is a mu'min. But what's higher than a mu'min is a muhsin. So he asked him, what's ihsan? What's ihsan? Huh? Ihsan. Oh, we're having good intention. When you know that Allah is always watching. He told him something. What's ihsan?
Beauty.
Huh?
Beauty.
Beauty? Beauty in what? Beauty and the beast. Beauty and enter the beast. Enter the beast. Who will beauty? What's ihsan? بر الوالدين إحسان. Perfecting. He says ihsan is that you worship Allah. Listen, please. Guys. Ado guys and to guysah. Listen. He says ihsan is that you worship Allah as if you see Him, for if you don't see Him, He sees you. Let me try to explain. He says إحسان أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. Is that you worship Allah as if you see Him, for you don't see Him, He sees you. يعني, which means that anywhere you are, don't just go and pray because your parents told you to pray. Pray because Allah is watching you. You fast because Allah is watching you. He has told you to fast. You read Quran because Allah Azza wa Jalla has ordered you. He is watching you subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you worship Allah as if Allah is watching you. And Allah, it is watching you subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the highest level of ibadah, is ihsan. So comes this man who got stuck. There were 3 of them. 3 men got stuck in this cave. They went into the cave, and then this rock came, and then they got stuck inside the cave. So they said to each other, we need to make some dua. Let's make some dua by virtue of our deeds. Let's make dua by virtue of our deeds, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to remove this rock that closed the cave. So they start making dua. One of them said, Oh Allah, there was this day when my cousin, this lady, I asked her, and she was in need of money. And I asked her to do haram, and then she accepted because she needed money. And I brought her the money. And then, as I was about to do something haram with her, she says, don't do it. She says, don't do it, except in halal. Don't do it in haram. Only do it in halal. Don't do it. Allah is watching. And then imagine this. I don't know, maybe you shouldn't imagine, but he was about to do something haram, and then at the moment of his about to do something haram, she told him, don't do it because Allah is watching. If you want to do it in halal. And then he pulled out. And he gave her the money. He came out, he didn't do anything haram, he came out, and he gave her the money. He says, oh Allah, if you knew that what I did was for your sake, then open this cave and open this rock, and the rock moved. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered his dua. Here, the essence of the story. A man who was about to do something haram, and subhanallah, he made that dua, and then it was not easy. I know sometimes it's not easy for you guys not to look. Yeah, not to look. You're looking. You could be looking at her, and you're not supposed to be looking at her. Or you're looking at something on TV, you're not supposed to be looking at it. You know, and you're by yourself, and then you have it on your phone, and then some message pops up. A message that pops up on your phone, and you know you're not supposed to be looking at it, and then you keep on looking. You know, sometimes it's difficult. But wallahi, listen to these guys and girls, the sweetest thing in ibadah, you feel something so sweet, is when you're about, subhanAllah, to look at something haram, or to do something haram, and then you realize that Allah is watching you, and then you don't do it. And then you say to yourself, when you say to Allah, make this dua. Oh Allah, it's so easy for me to do it. Sometimes I talk to Allah just like this. Oh Allah, you know that my nafs, you know that I want to look. Oh Allah, it's so easy for me to do haram. But oh Allah, I love you more. I'm not going to do it just because I love you, Allah. I want you to be pleased with me. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to do anything haram just because I want you to be pleased with me. If you try to do this, wallahi, you will feel something sweet you've never felt before in your lives. You will feel something so great. You will feel some empowerment in your heart that maybe she told you to spread some rumors, and it's easy for you to spread some rumors. Or she told you to backbite, and it's easy for you to backbite. The guy's talking, and then you backbiting maybe. I don't know. It's so easy for you to backbite her, or to backstab her, or to spread some rumors about her, whatever her name is. But then when you chose not to because Allah is watching, Allah, you will feel something amazing because you do it and you say, oh Allah, it's easy for me to do, but I'm not going to do it just because I love you. And I want you to be pleased with me. Try this, inshallah. Try it. If it happens, wallah, you will see, you feel something amazing. So here, I'm going to share with you a couple of stories, inshallah ta'ala. Maybe we can let you go home after that. The first story is of, maybe a couple of stories or maybe three. The first story I want to mention is about, these are all true stories. These are all true stories. A man sold a farm to this other man. I'm going to ask you questions about this. A man sold a farm to this other man. Are you there? You there or you're not there? Okay, cool. So the guy who bought the land, he went in his land and he found a treasure in his land. So he took the treasure, then he went to the man who sold him the land, and he says, I found this treasure in your land. I found a treasure in your land. That's not your candy. That's not your candy. That's not yours. That's this guy's. That's this man's. Yeah, this guy. Yeah. Give him the candy. Give him. That's his candy. That's your candy. Take it. Not mission. It's his. Yeah, just take it. He needs some sugar. So what happened was, he brought his treasure and then he went to the man who sold him the land. He says, this is your treasure. I found it in your land. The guy said, I sold you the land. I sold you the land already. The man said, but this treasure is yours. He says, no, it's also, it's part of the land which I sold you. And then the man says, had you known that there was a treasure in this land, you wouldn't have sold it to me. The man says, well, now it's too late. I've already sold you the land. So it is your treasure. You may think, is this real? Is this real? Yeah, it is real. The guy does not want the money. He took the treasure and then he went back. So they started arguing who is going to take the treasure. They went to a judge. They went to a court. No, you may say this is ridiculous. Come on, I'll take it. So the judge also felt a little weird. He says, you guys don't want the treasure, don't want the money. He says, no, he sold me the land and it's got a treasure in it, and that treasure, it belongs to him. He did not sell me the treasure, he sold me the land. But the man said, no, I sold him the land and whatever, is in it. So it's not my treasure. They kept on arguing. The judge was so confused, he did not know what to do. So he thought of an idea. He says, are you guys married? He says, yes. You have children? He said, yes. He said, طيب. Do you have, he told, so let's say you and you. You guys. So you're the owner of the land, right? So you sold the land to this guy, right? And then the guy he found a treasure in your land, right? He found a treasure, right? And then he came and then he brought it to you. He says, take the treasure. He says, that's not your treasure. Give it back to him. He says, no, it is yours. And then he says, no, it's not yours, right? And then they keep on arguing. So they went to whom? They went where? They went to the court. They went to court. The judge. Here's the judge. Where's the judge? Let's say you're the judge. No, I'm the judge. So they went to the judge, right? They went to the judge. And then the judge, I'm looking at you guys. What happened? Tell me what happened. You sold the land? Okay, so... What happened? What happened?
I gave him the treasure.
You gave him what? The treasure? What do you mean treasure? I don't understand. Explain from the beginning. What happened? I'm a judge. What happened? You had the land?
Yeah.
And then what happened? You sold it to him?
I gave him the treasure.
Okay, what happened? There was a treasure in it. So take your treasure. It's yours.
But if he did not know that there was treasure, he wouldn't think so.
Oh, if he knew that there was a treasure in it, he wouldn't have sold it to me. So take your treasure, man. Take the treasure. Okay, you married?
Yeah.
You're married? Do you have children?
Two.
Do you have children? Two. Boys or girls? You have a boy?
One.
You have a boy? You have a girl? You have your boy marry his daughter and then let them share the treasure. Here. Then came. What is that? Here, you may sound this. You may say, "Oh, come on, what's this?" The judge came up with this, idea of having them. Nobody wants it, and then you may say, "Really?" Yes, because Allah Azza wa Jal, these people, they believe in Allah Al-Raqib. They believe in Allah Sami' Al-Shahid Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They don't want that treasure. Yeah, you may say this is a very high level of Iman. Yes, it is very high level of Allah's consciousness. They don't want, but Allah Azza wa Jal brought them that fruit. The fruit is they both had to marry, their daughter and then the son. And then subhanAllah, and then they had to share that treasure amongst them. There's another story here and that we understand, that we can derive lessons from to understand again this concept of al-raqaba. The concept of raqaba. But there was a man long time ago, watch this. Long time ago there was a man by the name of Thabit ibn Ibrahim. His name is Thabit ibn Ibrahim in Iraq. Long time ago. He was walking by the field and then there was some apple trees. And then he found an apple. And then he had a bite of an apple. Let's say when you go to, where'd you go guys shopping from? Like groceries? Huh? You don't go? You don't go? Food basics. Or you go to food basics and then, you want to shop for groceries. Let's say fruits. And then you find some grapes. You taste them? Why? Disgusting? They're not washed and they're not... And you didn't pay for them. Or they're not yours. But sometimes you find people tasting here and there and whatnot. Okay, cool. So this guy, what happened? He found an apple. Watch, listen. He found an apple. He had a bite of that apple. And then he realized he did not ask permission from the owner of the garden. So he went and he was looking for the owner of the garden. Then he found this man outside by the gate. And then he asked him, "Are you the owner of this garden here?" He says, "No, I'm not the owner. The owner, in fact, lives about 10 kilometers from here." He says, "Excuse me, I just found this apple, and then I had a bite of it, and I realized I forgot. Wallahi, I forgot. I should have asked permission, and I forgot. So I need to ask you, permission." He says, "They're not mine. I'm only working here. If you want to talk to the owner, he lives about 10 kilometers from here." So the guy went. 10 kilometers walked. Imagine. He walked for 10 kilometers to go to the owner of the land just to ask him to forgive him because he had a bite of an apple. So imagine, okay, here it is. I'm going to pick on you again. It's all right. He knocked at his door. Assalamu alaikum. You're the owner of the land with the apples. Okay. Sheikh, please, I found this apple, right? And I forgot and I had a bite of it. Would you forgive me? And then he locked the doors. He said no, and then he slammed the doors on his face. Why? Why? Watch. Wait. And then he knocked the door one more time. He says, "Please, I did not do it on purpose. I forgot. Please forgive me. I just had a bite of it. Forgive me." He says, "No, I'm not going to forgive you." And then he slammed the door again for the second time. And then the third time he knocked. He says, "I'll do anything. Just forgive me." He says, "You do anything?" Anything. He says, you marry my daughter. What? What? You marry my daughter. He says, what do you mean? Watch this. But my daughter has some problems.
He's 11 years old.
My daughter, she cannot hear, she cannot talk, and she's blind. يعني she has all مصائب الدنيا والآخرة. She has all the kinds of problems. She cannot see, she cannot hear, and she cannot talk. The only way I can forgive you if you marry her. Just for an apple. So he said, okay, I accept to marry her. Just so that you can forgive me. On the night of the wedding, he came to see his wife. This is a long time ago. I'm telling you, like, this is a very, very long time ago.
What year?
And then, what year? I'll tell you what year, if in a moment.
In the morning.
Before you were born, for sure.
Yes.
So what happened was, he went to see his wife for the first time. He knocked at them and said, Salamu alaikum. She replied, Wa alaikum salam. Yeah, she talks. And then he goes to her, he says, your father told me that you cannot talk, you cannot speak, that you're deaf. She says, yes, he is right. I don't talk about haram, I only talk about halal. I don't say haram, I only see good things, I don't say bad things. And he told me that you cannot hear. She says, yes, I don't listen to haram, I only listen to halal. I don't listen to haram, I don't listen to music. Sheikh, don't talk about this. Alright, fine. I don't listen to bad things. I don't listen to bad things. And then you can you see me? She says, yes, I can. But your father told me you're blind. She says, yes, he's right. I don't look at haram, I only look at halal. They got married. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them with a son by the name of Abu Hanifa. Have you heard of the Hanafi madhab? Abu Hanifa is one of the school of thoughts, one of the scholars, one of the predecessors long time ago. His name is Abu Hanifa. Allah Azza wa Jal blessed them. He is the fruit of these two men and women who feel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They feel Allah ar-Raqib. You see this man, he could have had that bite and then he says, okay, you know what? It's only a bite. Number two, nobody watched me. Nobody saw me. So I'm fine, I'm cool. Nobody saw me. But he knew that Allah is watching him. I know, but because he fears Allah Azza wa Jal. He fears Allah so much. He fears Allah so much. You see, there's difference. There's levels. This man, he fears Allah so much. He says, no, I want him to forgive me. And the last story, and then I'm out. The last story is this. It's also another true story. There was a man by the name of Nuh ibn Maryam. His name is? Can I help you? Can I help you? Nuh, what's his name? He was a very wealthy man, and he used to have a worker, a guy that works for him. His name is Mubarak. So one time he called Mubarak and he told him, I want you to go and work in my field. Guys, I'm almost done. He says, go and work in my field and watch, water the plants in my field. So he goes, is that yours? Okay. So he goes, and then a month later, Nuh ibn Maryam went to visit his farm. So he told Mubarak, come, please get me some grapes. And he's sitting down in the shade and he says, bring me some grapes. Mubarak, he goes and then he brings him a cluster of grapes, and then those grapes, they happen to be sour. So Nuh, again, he says, please bring me some sweet ones. These are bitter, it's not sour, they're not sweet. So Mubarak, he goes to another, somewhere else in the field, and then he brings him some other grapes. And then the grapes happen to be sour again. So Nuh is getting upset. He says, yeah, Mubarak, these are sour, they're not sweet. Please bring me some sweet ones. And then he goes to another, somewhere near still in the farm, but somewhere else, and he brought him another cluster of grapes, and then they were sour again. Now Nuh got really upset. He says, you've been working in my field, in my farm for over a month, watering my farm and my plants and and looking after my plants and my fruits. Don't you know the sweet ones from the bitter ones? So you should know you work here. He says, yes, I've been working here, but I swear by Allah, I have never tasted not even a single grape. You sent me here to work in your field. You sent me here to water the field and the plants, but you did not send me here to eat your crops. to eat your fruits, to eat your plant. You didn't send me here to eat them. You sent me here to water them. And I did not fear you, he says on top. He says, I didn't fear you. I feared Allah who's watching me, Al-Raqib. I knew that Allah was watching me. It's not like because I'm afraid of you, I'm afraid of Allah. If we parents, and if the parents are like listening to this, if we parents understand this concept, once our children's, really, once your children and my children start knowing and understanding this concept that Allah is watching them, والله بقول لكم نام كما يقولوا المصريين في بطيخة شي يقولوا بطيخة صيفي. What did you say? ناموا whatever you guys say in Egypt. I'm saying here, if your children understand this concept, wallah, you'll be the luckiest man on earth. He told him, it's not because I was afraid of you, this is why I was not. I was afraid of Allah who was watching me. So the man got so impressed. He was so impressed. He says, listen, I want to consult something with you. I need your opinion on something. He says, I have a very beautiful daughter. It's all right. He says, I have a beautiful daughter. And a lot of people, no, he didn't say anything. He says just a lot of people that come in and asking for her hand. Guys, I know you guys all want to marry this girl, but she's not for marriage. He said, I have a very beautiful daughter and I'm a very wealthy man, as you know. And a lot of people are coming asking for my daughter's hand in marriage. And I don't know who to give her to. And she's very pious, she's really righteous. She's a good girl. She feels Allah Azza wa Jal. And then who do you think I should let her marry? Now, Mubarak is giving him this golden advice. He says, Ya Nuh, he says the Christians, they look for people who are beautiful, who are handsome. He says the Jews, they look for people who have money. He says at the time of Rasulullah, the Muslims, at the time of the Prophet, they look for people who have taqwa, the people who have fear, who have akhlaq, good manners, and who have the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. He says in our time, we look for everything, right? People who've got money, whatever, He says, it's up to you. Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. You'll be resurrected in the day of judgment with whomever you love. It's up to you to choose for your daughter. He was so impressed. Again, he told him, would you be interested in marrying her? He said, yes, but go and ask her. This is very important. He says, go and ask her. Don't force her like when your father tells you, I got your cousin, Fatima or Fatima. She's coming from Egypt. We're going to ship her from Egypt. Ship her back. Ship her back. No, he gives you the same one. So the guy said, go and ask her. Listen to this. He says, go and ask her. Ask her. Of course he went and he asked her. And then they accepted, of course, she accepted because when he told his daughter the story of this man, how he feels Allah Azza wa Jalla. She said, Dad, if you accept him and if you approve of him, I accept feeling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yes, they got married, but Allah Azza wa Jalla blessed them with the fruit. And the fruit is another amazing, righteous man by the name of Abdullah Ibn al-Mubarak. If you read, those of you who read books of hadith, there's so many books of hadith. This man has written so many or compiled so many hadith of the Prophet Muhammad which is the fruit again of al-muraqabah, that Allah is watching you. So I'm telling you this, inshallah ta'ala, please, brothers and sisters, remember, when you think again that you're alone, Allah is watching you. And I will end, with your permission, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, one hadith. And this is for me, one of the scariest hadith I've ever heard, I've ever studied. It is a very scary hadith. And I'm sorry to share it with you, but it's an amazing yet scary hadith. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is a good hadith. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, in the day of judgment, some people will come from my ummah, from my nation. They will have hasanat as the mount, almost of the mount of Uhud. Lots of hasanat, as big as the biggest mountain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make those hasanat all go in vain. Yani none of these hasanat will be accepted. Then the Sahaba, they said, Ya Rasulullah, who are they? Imagine they come, these Muslims, they come with lots of good deeds. In the day of judgment, Allah Azza wa Jalla will not accept none of their good deeds. all their deeds will be gone to waste. So the Sahaba, they were so scared. Ya Rasulullah, who are these people? Imagine this man who lived 80 years or 90 years or whatever, and he's been doing a lot of good deeds. In the Day of Judgment, Allah will not accept none of his deeds. So the Sahaba, they said, tell us who they are. The Prophet says, أَمَا إِنَّهُمْ مِنْ جَلْدَتِكُمْ. They are from the people that you know of, from your skin. They speak your language. وَيَأْخُذُونَ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ كَمَا تَأْخُذُونَ. This is very dangerous. Why? Because these people, they're not regular people. They also not only pray, they pray Qiyam al-Layl, which means they pray the night prayer. You know what the night prayer is? The night prayer is when you wake up at night before Fajr and you pray. Not anybody can do this. Very special people can do this, to wake up in the midst of your sleep and you make wudu and you pray and you ask Allah Azza wa Jal. This is really high level of Iman. So the Prophet says these people, they're amongst those people who wake up at night. But here's their problem. The problem is, وَلَكِنْ, when they're alone, not publicly, privately, when they're alone, they start doing haram. They do haram things. When they're alone and they think that nobody's watching them, what do they do instead? They start doing haram. Here in the masjid, they look like they are angels, mashallah. At home, when people are watching them, when the parents, they look like they're mashallah, yes, and everything. But when they're alone, maybe in their rooms, or maybe they're alone, privately somewhere, nobody's watching, they think that, nobody's watching, they start doing haram. These people, they will come in the Day of Judgment with lots of good deeds, but in the Day of Judgment, Allah will not accept any of their good deeds. This is very, very dangerous. That's why I'm saying this is one of the most scariest hadith I have ever heard. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, please, at school, wherever you are, at home, in the street, always know who's watching you?
Allah.
I didn't hear you.
Allah.
Allah who? Allah who? مش like Allah who, Allah who. لا مش من Allah who? Who's the name of Allah? Allah. Allah. Al-Raqib. Say Allah Al-Raqib. Allah Al-Shahid. Allah Al-Sami'. Allah Al-Basir. The watchful, the all-hearing, the one who watches all of us, the one who hears us subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot hide, we can run, but we cannot hide from Allah Azza wa Jal. So remember this inshallah ta'ala. Remember when you're by yourselves. Remember that when, don't try to do things because you want to please your parents. Do them because you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's always watching. May Allah bless you, sisters. May Allah reward you, brothers. May Allah grant you the highest level of Jannah. Say Ameen. May Allah give you success in your school. May Allah give you success in your exams. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless all of you and bless your parents who have taken you to come here. May Allah guide your parents. May Allah guide your loved ones. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your loved ones. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to grant you all Firdaus A'la. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you all the companionship of Prophet Muhammad in Jannah. Say Ameen. For you and for your parents and for your loved ones. Say Ameen. May Allah Jazakumullah khair again. Thank you so much. You have one last, and I know you have some questions.